And then about 5 years later, I was on a business trip to Ethiopia, having nothing to do with Rotary. And they flew me on a little propeller plane to a desert airstrip, and then the car took me up the switchback mountain roads to the little village of Lalibela. In Lalibela, there are no paved streets. And all of a sudden I went, oh my gosh, there they are. The crawlers, the people that I used to show on the slides, are now in front of me, with their arms and their legs all withered up, propelling themselves through the dirt with their elbows. And the next morning I was waiting for the car and a translator to take me back to the airstrip, and you heard this wailing sound. It's sort of like being in the Middle East and hearing the call to prayer, but this is a Christian country. So when the translator came, I asked him what it was. And he listened and he said, oh, they're calling the women to bring their children to be immunized against polio. I said, really? I think I'm involved with that project. Could we go there? And he said, yeah, we have a couple of extra minutes. And so we drove to the middle of Alabama, and there was this long line of, generally speaking, women carrying babies. And at the head of the line was a tree, and nailed to the tree was a poster, all written in Amharic. But down at the bottom of the poster was the unmistakable logo of Polio Plus and Rotary. And the translator explained to the man with the white coat who I was, and without even asking me, he took this little baby boy and put him in my arms, and then gave me the dropper. And for the very first time, I got to put 2 drops in the baby's mouth. And the driver was going like this, and I got into that car, that seat, and as we went back down the mountain, I thought, oh my gosh, 2 weeks ago, my beloved, precious son, my only child, was a runner in middle school at the time. And we had just been there with the crowd at his middle school going crazy in the 2-mile race as he went from 12th place to 1st place in the last 2 laps. And now, this little boy could be a runner. And could his dad love him any less than I love mine? And that's when I asked myself the question again, what in the world have I got myself into? But it's a different intonation, you know. And what in the world have we all gotten ourselves into when we have gone from 1985, when the equivalent of 2 747s every day were crashing, filled with children, 350,000 lives in 125 countries, to where last year there were only 3 countries and 37 cases, and as of this morning, only 2 endemic countries and 5 new cases so far this year. What in the world have I got myself into? Back at our Zone Institute in Winnipeg in late September last year, I had breakfast one morning with somebody that many of you may know, past District Governor Marty Hellman from Maine. And Marty regaled me over breakfast with the experiences that she has had of being on the Major Gifts Initiative of the Rotary Peace Centers. And I have a confession to make to you. I just wrote the book about the history of the foundation, but I didn't know very much about the Rotary Peace Centers program because it's so new. And she just regaled me with the stories of these amazing young men and women and middle-aged young men and women that Rotary is giving master's degrees in peace and conflict resolution to. And I said, well, why don't you write a book and tell these stories? And Marty said, why don't you? And I said, oh, I'm already being governor for a second year. I don't have time. But we quickly decided that this could really be our gift to the world. And so we went to President John and said, hey, John, what do you think of this as an idea? What do you think of an idea of a book that will tell the stories of the Rotary Peace Fellows around the world? And John said, I think it's fantastic, but I only have 2 minor requests. The first is, can you have it ready by Atlanta? This is in late September. And secondly, you know how long it takes to get budgets approved in Evanston, no disrespect intended by the director. And so is there any way it can be done at no cost to Rotary? And so up to that, he got the green light to go ahead. So we said, why not? I'll write it free. We found a private foundation to pay for the production of it. And in 10 days from today, they should be shipped. And our book is being called A String of Pearls. And our goal, because there's absolutely no cost to writing it, is we're hoping to be able to generate from the book sales $100,000 to go to the Peace Centers program of the Rotary Foundation. And out at the Peace Center's table out there, you can pick up one of these pre-order forms. But the point that we wanted to make, Marty and I, in doing the book, was to make you as proud of the job that these Peace Fellows are doing around the world today as we have become. And so